All right, guys, it's been a few minutes since we've done this. We've been pretty busy. All last week I was gone, and the week before that, it just got complicated getting ready to go to Rocky Mountain Three Gun with to do three gun. So, so that's why we didn't do that. It's just getting ready and trying to forget nothing. And ended up forgetting a bunch. So, what have you guys been up to? How about you, Corey? How's your campaign doing?
Oh, it's been going good. I've been doing a lot of meet and greets and been meeting a lot of people. They had a national night out by the APD. And so I got to meet a lot of people in the district and Westgate and my own community. It was fun. I got to share what I'm doing, and what surprised quite a few people is that um, Presbyterian is not taking Medicaid and Medicare anymore. And they're like, what? No. It's like, yeah, starting September. And that just, a lot of people were like, oh, what are we going to do? I was like, well, this is what I'm going to do. And so I started sharing my spiel on it. And they're like, really? And so became very interested in me. A lot of the retirees super interested in me. Ran into a couple of my incumbent. One was like the best friends from childhood, and the other one was a manager, or she was a campaign person helping out um, with my incumbent. And she goes, "Yeah, she's off in El Salvador." And I was like, "Oh, cool! That's a great place to be right now." And
Your
so,
opponent is in El Salvador.
mhm.
What the?
Yeah, she didn't say why or anything else, but she's like, "Yeah, she's in El Salvador." I was like, "All right, well, uh, more for me." I've
Oh,
also met a lot of people that have business, also starting up businesses and talking to them and finding out what keeps them up at night. A lot of them said that they are trying to find a workforce for their business, and they've been struggling with that. And so part of my thing that I'm pushing besides healthcare is education and also workforce. So when you look at education, when you educate people on reading, writing, arithmetic, and then in high school, you're teaching them a trade. Not everyone's bound for college and higher education, but yet trade is always going to be around. AI is not going to take over trade. Welding, electrical, plumbing, all those kind of things. And that is a big need here in Albuquerque, really big. Presbyterian and other hospitals are adding on and building, and they have to
excuse
pull
me.
people from
Whew.
Texas to do that. And so talking to him about, hey, we need to build up our own infrastructure, and we need to have that money stay here, used here, um, all that kind of stuff. And they were on board. There's not a whole lot of people that were not. Been talking to people that are in the labor union, and they agreed with those three things too. They're like, yeah, we can get on board with that. That's a big deal, because New Mexico is falling behind, and I'm saying New Mexico, not just Albuquerque, but the whole state needs um, those trades into their school, so when they graduate, they have it, and they can have a job before they graduate. Also, the big thing about trade is, you want to go and do a higher education. Well, you got something that supports you, that's going to help you through college, undergrad, grad school, and all those good things. So, trade school is a big thing. Mike Rowe, you guys remember Dirtiest Jobs, Mike Rowe? He
Hmm.
has got another podcast that he's brought out, The Way I Heard It, and he's has talked and still talking about trade being one of the biggest things out there, and a lot of people are on board. It doesn't matter if they are well educated or not. So that was been really awesome. And then also I've been going to this barber shop off of, and in Albuquerque, downtown, off of 6th Street. A great bunch of guys, and they would have people come and speak and tell what is it they're doing and how they're making society better, what they see as problems. Superintendent of schools was there one week. Raul Torres, he's the attorney general for New Mexico, and he spoke and he blew their socks off because he told them there's $70 billion in reserve. And these people are like, wait a minute, we're a poor state and we have $70 billion. Like,
What a
where's all
reserve
the money
where? Just in
going?
the fund? Or the general
It's
fund? Where's the
it's in a fund that just spare money that they have. They've accumulated over time, and with the oil money, because uh, Texas is the same. Texas produces the most oil in the United States, I believe. And then Alaska is the third. New Mexico is second. And so, with all the oil royalties and revenue that gets pumped into our roundhouse and that kind of stuff, we have over 70 billion just set aside just in case. Uh, and we're not. There's one refinery that is going like just minimum of oil that's being refined and that kind of stuff. You put that up to max, man, you have a lot of revenue that's coming into the state. And people ask, well, why isn't our education better? Why are we 50th? And why are we like so poor? And why is the violence so great? And the guy said, we need more police officers. I think the number was 800 more police officers going around patrolling, but not in their cars. They would park their cars, get out, and be in the community, talking with them, finding out what's going on. And he said that will deter a lot of the crime and all that kind of stuff because they would be a part of it. He also said, because there's one guy that was or is part of APD, and also he teaches at the academy, and he says at night different sections may have a maximum of three police officers during the night shift. And they were like, wait a minute. So when we call and, we're put on hold or we have to leave a message or they don't show up for 2 hours and stuff, it's like, why is there only three? So he was
what city
unpacking
was
all
there
those
only?
things.
Why
Huh?
is there only what community only has 3 officers in it?
The Northeast Heights said that. I think
Really?
probably,
That's a
yeah.
bit.
Yep.
That area has like. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so
Wow.
minds were just blown, right? And this is the AG. He considers him a progressive Democrat, and he's saying these things, and I was like, that I didn't put all those things together with what he was described himself. And the progressive is he wants to make New Mexico safer, better, and he was just blowing the socks out of all of us, including me. I was like, I didn't know these things. I knew about the $70 billion, which probably going to go up a couple billion more in the next couple of years. But they just have a reserve fund to do that. So I've been going and talking
So,
with, huh?
so we have a reserve fund, and yet we can't
Yes,
pay our bills.
yes. We have a reserve fund, and our teachers are pulling money out of their own pockets to help kids get school supplies, shoes, or whatever else, even feeding them. So it's like, where's all the money going? If the teachers have to do that and they don't make a whole lot. Police officers are pulling money out of their own pocket and helping kids, and that is not a very um, gender or ethnic specific. It's just kids, all kids. They've been helping, and that
Hmm.
doesn't make the news. And they're like, "Yeah, this is what we're doing." Yeah, there's $70 billion in reserve. Um, we're poor, a very poor state. It's like none of this makes sense. So, talking to them and finding out what they were experiencing and how they're just like we can turn things around. Why is this stuff kept? So it was great questions. I mean, just amazing questions. One of these Mondays, because it's on a Monday, I'm gonna be up there in the hot spot and share what I'm gonna be doing and how I'm gonna turn things around, especially in the three areas of education, uh, uh, the uh, Medicare and Medicaid, and then also with blue collar workers. It should be a very interesting time. And so I didn't know a lot of this stuff before I got into this. And when I got into campaigning, talking to people, listening to AG, listening to more people as they're sharing what's going on, there's some conflict in what some people are saying. The superintendent said that New Mexico in a whole is number 50, but in Albuquerque, because of the schools that we have, what do you call those schools that, oh, why is my brain, but you can, charter schools.
Charter. Yeah.
Charter schools are just the ones that are raising the bar and really providing that great education. And the parents, these men were asking, well, why isn't the public schools that are not charter, why aren't they stepping up themselves? That lady's like, no, they're doing great. There's no problems. And the parents are saying, yeah, there are problems. So a lot of people said that these are progressive socialist Democrats that have this, but they're just parents. They're just parents wanting better for their kids, for themselves, for their community. And I think majority of New Mexicans want that. There's just a minority that's just trying to keep us poor, trying to keep us from growing and doing better and running businesses out. There's more and more businesses are collapsing, closing. There's people leaving the state. My neighborhood, more and more houses are going up for sale. Yeah, so it's like, okay, we don't turn around during this election and then continue to turn around in the future elections. New Mexico will be a socialist state, and I don't know where that $70 billion is going to go, but it won't be in the reserve anymore.
Well, they're going to find how to get it in their own pockets. Is what they're
Yeah,
going
yeah,
for. They say it's a reserve fund, but it's really they're trying to just figure out how to legally give it to their friends so they can get kickbacks. That's the only reason they
yeah,
would do that. It just
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And so, there's a bunch of us that are pulling together. Janelle Garcia, she's an amazing person. Oh, she's got like 12 businesses. She's campaigning and she's got family that she's making sure that they get to what they need to do. And Brenda Olson, Steve Tafoya, and just a bunch of us that are just, and Chris Crane, and just banding together and going to places. Ramona Goldsby, she's running for Secretary of State, and listening to her, what she has to say, and how she's going to make a difference as a Secretary of State is just refreshing. Yeah, it's really cool. So, it's, yeah, I'm out there talking to and listening to everybody. That's what representatives are supposed to be doing. We're for the people. We're not politicians trying to push our own agenda and fill our own pockets. We're supposed to be there as servants of the people and listening to them and finding out what's keeping them up at night. What are they afraid of? What problems are they encountering? And so many are encountering so many problems with the state, trying to get their business license and that kind of stuff. And then I'm finding out a lot of people are having problems with their business license here in Albuquerque. And I was like, oh, well, what are they? And my dentist, he's a pretty cool guy. He was saying that they're having problems because it seems like the medical groups, and he's a dentist, and they did a new system. I don't quite understand it, but they had to take their stuff that is now old, download it, and upload it into their new system, and they're on like month by month wait before they get their license for their businesses. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, you built this system and you didn't think about taking the information and the licenses, move it from the old system, import it into the new system, and just have people easily renew it. It's like this doesn't make sense. And uh, their license is not a permanent, but a what's the
Temporary.
other temporary license? Is good for $29.99. 22 290 the year of 200 $29.99. So before uh year 3000 300 3000, it has to
So
be renewed. It's like, wait a minute, that doesn't
it's
make any
good for a
sense.
1,000 years.
Yeah. Yeah, just before the turn of the next century, it's good. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. So the temporary is that long, and it might be one of those computer things where it just sets it up for before the turn of the century. I don't know. Yeah, so they're like, this doesn't make sense, and it's really, really messing with a lot of these businesses. And then one thing that I've been hearing from everybody, Republicans, Independents, Democrats, they don't want Deb Haaland in. They're saying that if she gets in, that they're all leaving the state.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just because
this is not
dude,
just, huh?
this this piece of paper here has
Yeah,
more common sense than that dumbass does. You see
I
her,
don't. What does that piece of paper have? Oh, is that just a
yeah,
blank piece of paper?
this blanket piece of
Okay,
paper has more common sense than any of this other, than what that
yeah,
woman says.
yeah. But she's being pushed from Washington D.C. All the funding is coming from there. People are not from New Mexico that are running her campaign and stuff. You know, she's got a following, yet that
Was
doesn't
it
make sense.
zombies? They're following her, going brains, brains, hoping that something will grow.
I don't know, but not everyone is following her, and how she's getting the numbers she has, it doesn't make any sense. But it is what it is. Yet everyone is working really hard, getting out there, meeting people, letting them know what we are all about, how we're going to make a difference. And the socialists, all they're saying is Trump, Trump, Trump. You know, they're all Trump, this and that, and we're like, what does Trump have to do with New Mexico? You know, we got to fix New Mexico. You know, leave Trump out of it. You know,
Yeah, what is
if we don't
we're
do
not right?
anything, then huh?
It's like the guy who's running for uh, District 2 for state house for U.S. House of Representatives. He's like, I will oppose Trump. And it's like he's not. He's dressing like things that have nothing to do with New
New
Mexico.
Mexico.
He's campaigning against Donald Trump. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, go to Washington D.C. and run for presidency, and go after Donald Trump. But what are you going to do in New
So,
Mexico?
so why are they doing that? Because that's not unique to New Mexico. That's happening all across the country. Why are they doing this? Are they doing it because of ideology or strategy?
I think it's both.
Well, sure, but if you had to put more weight into one or the other,
Strategy.
of course, because what is it all about? Winning.
Yeah.
So for
Well, they
whatever
think that,
reason, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, you finish your thought. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. That's all right.
I'll
I know where
go.
I'm at. So
Yeah.
It's
So strategy, if they can get people turned off on anyone except for them, and they push that narrative, then they're going to win. They're going to be taking over more and more. And New Mexico is more Democratic ish, but the Democrats have lost 7 points. And as they have looked at, as people have changed their voting and all that kind of stuff, they dropped 7 points in New Mexico. More and more people are turned off, but there's still people that are enraged about what Trump is doing and Iran and everything else. They don't want that kind of stuff. And so it's a great strategy to keep them focused on that and pushing that Republicans are all about Trump, and we're not. We're all about New Mexico. Yeah, how we're going to solve things here and keep things going. And it's a great strategy. It's working. What
why
do you
is it
think, Paul?
working?
Why is it working? Because people don't like Trump. Majority of people in New Mexico do not like Trump.
And why is that?
Um, that's a very good question. I don't think I have the answer for that one.
Well, Trump's been in our lives for the last 10 years, like
Yep.
well,
in the
no more
public.
than that.
Well, more than that, but in terms of being
Politics.
in terms of running for office and going into the presidency, that was
Yeah.
2016, I believe, was when this all kicked off. And obviously, it's been going on before that. He ran several times before, but it's been nonstop Trump for 10 years.
Yeah.
Nonstop. That's never happened. I mean, this is one of those things that's never happened in human history where everyone gets fixated globally on one human. Like, when I say globally, I mean the entire planet is fixated on this guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's obsessive. It's very interesting to think about why that is and how that came about. Because that didn't just randomly happen. But why? So there's a circuitry in human behavior that's, now this is coming from a psychology angle, which I'm very dubious of, but I do agree that there is a thing called the disgust circuit in humanity, in our, when we process information as it comes in and out. There's certain triggers that trigger a feeling of disgust.
Hmm.
And that disgust feeling is an emotion. It's not even emotion. It's deeper than emotion. It's like revulsion at a deeper level than just,
Or
I don't like
yeah.
somebody.
Yeah.
So if you've spent the last decade building disgust circuitry around a certain individual, well, that's what's happened. It's manipulation because like you said, it's like you're trying to make logic. This is where I start getting not irritated, but because I know you're not saying this, but other people look at Democrats and they're like, they're just so dumb. They don't even get it. And I'm like, that's not the point. This is what psychological warfare is. This is what it looks like. I mean,
Yeah.
COVID is going to be the permanently etched memory of mass psychological warfare, and that permeated everyone's mind, and that also hit on the disgust circuitry of cleanliness. I might touch something, I might breathe on somebody. It's like I have to create my shell to protect myself. And that whoever has orchestrated this knows exactly what they're doing when it comes to human behavior. And to people that are trying to understand like reality for itself, to us, we're like, what's going on? Why is everyone crazy? Most people are crazy, or they're not thinking. They're what I don't know what you want to call that. They're non-conscious people. They're unconscious. They're just moving from reaction to reaction. And this is why and how I started to see how the elites start looking at humanity, and that most humans are animals. Or they behave like animals. They act like animals. They're easily steered and led by the nose. I'm not saying we are animals. We're not. We are above animals, but we behave like animals.
Well, to them,
there's some
we are.
psychology and sociology within that. That's what you're saying, right? Sociologically.
100%. You've got, I mean, I swear the DNC has hundreds, probably 100,000 people devoted to just this subject. Which is also their greatest weakness because they have to make every decision by committee and get consensus. And that's what slows them down. That's what slows down a hive mind, is building consensus. But you can short circuit consensus making if you can trigger a discuss circuit around a singular object. Enter in Trump. So it's a way to not have to deal with any problems and trigger discuss at the same time. It's very smart, but they're making a bet that most humans are animal humans, is what I would call them.
Yeah, and they will be talking about Trump instead of what's really going on in our own communities, our own city, state, county.
Yeah, pragmatic, real solutions that can make our lives better at the local level. Trump bad. That's easier.
Yeah. Yeah,
look how bad look at what he's doing. Look how bad he is. Don't look at us.
Yeah. And what they're not, well, the one thing that's going to bring them down is conversations like this with each other saying, yeah, it's that, but what are we doing for our own state? What's going on here? When that conversation starts kicking off and moving forward, I think that's going to be their undoing. If they can continue to, if we can continue to push solutions that actually work.
Yes, and this will end eventually, but it's probably not going to end until Trump is dead.
Well, from what I understand, they're trying real hard to kill him right now. So,
I hear of that. But I mean, it's kind of similar to Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was hated.
Yep.
Like from both sides, he was and people, EM has a very, last time we talked to him, he had a very low opinion of Lincoln. I'm a little bit, but I don't know because I wasn't, but based on everything I've seen, he was in an extremely complex situation. Mm-hmm. Like it's probably on par with as complex a situation as we find ourselves in right now. But the only differentiating factor between Lincoln and Trump is that, one, communication speeds were so low that gave you time to do forceful action quickly to get things done. And that's why he was so obsessed with getting, give me a general that can move and get things done quickly, urgency, speed, action, move, go, get everyone on their back foot so we can take the initiative. That's what the initiative is when you've got your enemy strategists second guessing and having to reorient their plans. As soon as you can do that, now the trick is, once you have it, to keep it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
The beautiful part with where we're at right now is that we absolutely have the initiative. We just have to keep it. Which this will lead to where I want to go into later, but I know you got Rocky Mountain 3 stuff to talk about. I know you went down there, but
yeah,
Lincoln seizing the initiative, we'll come back to it.
Yeah. So this is spent the last week at Rocky Mountain 3 Gun. Corey came and visited. It was pretty cool. We got a picture of him doing that. Here, Let's see.
Yeah. Well, Cody invited me, 10 years ago or stuff like that, and things happen, and um, we weren't able to make it, and then look at
There's
this
Corey.
video. That's
Well, it's
me.
not. Yeah, it's you.
That's me working the iPad or the pad, keeping score.
Yeah, he helped
Calling
us
it
keep
Cody
score.
calling in or Corey calling in a drone strike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corey took a bunch of pictures while we were there. Well, he met this lady Michelle. She was pretty cool.
Dude, you're perfect for this. You're such a good candidate.
Dude,
Yeah,
I lost
I
2
mean
pounds from going and doing that event.
No,
that's
you
funny
look
because
great. Like whatever
that's
you're
funny.
doing,
I
good
gained
job.
5 pounds from being there. The
Oh,
food.
so Brian, he was the range officer, and he was making sure everything was safe and following along behind the shooter. And he was like doing what, 14 to 20,000, was it
We
steps
were doing.
or miles?
We were
What was
doing.
he?
We ended up doing about 17 miles. Well, the first day we did like 17 miles because we ran five. We ran five different squads. The second day we ran four squads, and then the third day we ran. No, we did five, five, and two. First 2 days of that thing we ran. Yeah, the first 2 days we ran. I walked. The first day I walked 18 miles, and the
I think you
second
got
day
20 miles.
it was stupid distance. It's like
Yeah.
just walk.
Yeah.
But you understood now why I prepare all year to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's just grueling.
It is. And then he had not enough range officers. And so I became an unofficial one, like the 17-year-old kid, or was it 14? He became
Oh,
unofficial.
he's
Elias,
only, he's only 12.
12.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. He was only 12.
Yeah.
Um,
And it was a lot of fun to watch. I wanted to go shoot, but a lot of the stages ran long and had some other obligations. And but I got to see uh, the whole place. It was just incredible how big it was.
well,
And
let's, for example, Las Cruces, I think they said Las Cruces is like 70, no, 68 square miles. If you squared it all up, the surface of the Whittington is 55 square miles. So the Whittington Center, and that's just the half. And you only saw the half on the side of the mountains on the south side. There's a whole bunch more on the side, on the north side of the
mm,
ranch that you never get to see.
yeah,
So yeah, it's just. I wish I would have gotten a chance to record your speech. It was really good. You got up in front of there. You were an invited speaker. I was able to talk to the people up there, and you and Ramona came up there and spoke. And I thought that was pretty cool that they gave you a platform.
yeah. I was also told they don't have people from the roundhouse and all that kind of stuff ever come up.
Yeah,
They never wanted home. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
it was the first time in the history of Street Gun that they had a Secretary of State candidate and a candidate, from my understanding. This is what I was
Yeah,
able to glean. There might be a different story, but and a representative from the state house come in, speak there. So, and they were really apprehensive about you guys until you all came out and started actually like watching and getting involved and talking to people.
yeah.
Because the
I'd say,
politicians they have come in the past. They come, they do their meet and greet, shake some hands, and get the hell out. They never go and interact.
Yeah. No, that's what I heard too. And I took Ramona up to where you were at, and so that they could see what's going on, what it looks like, what it feels like, and they even offered them to try it out, shoot and that kind of stuff. And so there were, every stage that I went to, they're like, "Hey, are you gonna shoot?" I'm like, A, I have all the guns for this. B, I don't know if I have enough time. And you guys this is competition. You're running these things back to back to back. I'm like, I would love to. Oh, I would love to, because it looks like a blast. And
Oh,
these
dude.
people, they had biggest smiles on their face. Even though they're huffing and puffing, the elevation's pretty high. A lot of people had those oxygen that you buy at gas stations in high altitude, and they're
Yeah, they
just
were
sucking on
huffing
that air.
oxygen. They were huffing off oxygen.
Yeah, because they're not, they're what, ocean level and all that kind of stuff, and
We
it
had
was
several.
funny to see, but they were just like, I'm going to do whatever it takes.
Well, it's bizarre to me. It is to me when you see those silver cans with the green lid, and they're sitting there getting ready, and they're like doping their blood on oxygen.
Yeah, and then some of the people were what, 80ish,
But
and they were having a hard time getting down on their knees and getting back up, but they can go to the
Jerry,
next stage.
Jerry was the same age as my dad. Think he's 72, and he was when he was up on our stage. We are at almost 7,200 feet. He was showing a little bit of a. It was hard for him coming from Louisiana, coming up there. So he
Yeah,
said I think he was saying something about he has to climatize when he comes up there. Like he comes up there and spends like 3 or 4 days just getting
acclimates.
used. Yeah, to at the altitude.
That's a smart man right there. Of course, this isn't his first time.
Well, uh, we had we. This is the first year we had shot hit indicators, so you could like see that they actually hit the target, and it was pretty cool. It was a lot of different stuff, a lot of the same stuff. That lady Michelle that we had the picture of, she invited us to the next thing that I was already on the agenda to do, but the Black Rifle Challenge.
Yeah, Del Norte Gun Club.
Yeah, I
It's
didn't
in
realize that
Rio Rancho.
I guess last year, after everything was paid for, the range fees and expenses, they raised $22,000 for firearms awareness and all that other stuff. It's like, man,
Yeah,
uh, the thing that's sad is there's a lot of people that don't think that these gun things are doing these gun events are doing anything positive for their community. But they're just like, like charity golf events and stuff. Like, hey, let's go out and raise money. This is a man's version of charity golf, I guess you would say.
yeah, it's a different version, and we need all the different events. It brings people into New Mexico. They spend money. There's people from Louisiana, Texas, Canada. It sounded like there were some people from Great Britain. They were there too.
Um, there was a guy. He was from Wales. Yeah, he was from Britain, but he was from Wales.
Did he
Yeah.
make that clear that he's Welsh and not
Oh
from
yeah.
Great Britain? That's right.
He has.
Attaboy. That's right.
He had he had the English the was it the Union Jack on his chest, but on his arms he had the Welsh flag.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then met a lot of people. Ramona got to hear what Brian had to say about this whole thing.
Oh,
And
he
so
talked
she
to her
listened
for a
to
bit.
him. Oh, yeah. Up at the range at Section 9 or whatever it's called, Stage 9.
Stage
Yeah,
9, yeah.
there's quite a few people that just, bent her ear and just talked and shared what they were seeing and thinking. And yeah, so it was really cool. So great times.
Really glad you did that. That's a huge morale boost. And that also, doing things like that, no matter what happens, just that kind of engagement of crossing boundaries into different groups and getting everyone aware of what's happening around them is so important. And it's like almost being a politician. If got your soul right, it is kind of a ministry in bringing and linking disparate groups for a singular cause and purpose, but under a system of values and like, what is our collective philosophy here, folks? What do we actually believe in? Let's talk.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And one of the
Well,
things that I said when I was up there in my speech is that, um, this Deb Haaland gets in, more of these other people get in, and they're going to shut down guns. You're not going to be able to have guns in New Mexico, and that place that they love to go and do the free gun and everything else, it's going to
it's
disappear.
gone. Oh, there.
Yeah,
It's on the chopping block, dude. I'm telling you.
yeah, and I stressed it to them where if you don't even live in New Mexico, but you probably know someone that does. You know someone that maybe lives in Albuquerque. Share us, talk about us, and push that. It's going to make things uh, better for us because it's getting out there, because that's what needs to happen. We need to get out there and get our names and our platforms out there, what we're going to do for New Mexico, and a lot of them just were kind of quiet on that, which was very surprising. But I was like, if she does and this place goes, a lot of us are going to have to leave. I'm going to probably have to go to Texas or to Idaho. And Texas is like, yeah. The colonel from Idaho is like, bring all your
No.
guns. I was like, that's some enthusiasm. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the colonel's that West Point guy's pretty intense. He's been out of West Point for 60 years, but you'd think he went there yesterday.
Yeah, West Pointers.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to talk to him a little bit. Yeah, he's got his own way of doing things. I liked it. Yeah. But
Yeah, his own way of doing a lot of things. Yeah.
yeah. But the whole thing is, how can we collectively come together and stand up and say no more from every aspect of what we offer here in New Mexico, who we are of New Mexico, and say we want this stuff, not taken away more and more of our rights.
Well, the thing I don't
And
understand is there's a fringe minority in the state that wants what the politicians seem to be pushing, but they keep thinking, but the majority doesn't want anything near what they're pushing, but yet they keep voting for the people that are putting that into place. It just
yeah,
But unless you're focused on this, what do you act like? You got to put yourself in the mind of these people. What do they really know? How many of them actually even watch the news? Everyone's
no one watches
scrolling
the news.
on everyone's scrolling TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and that's all they're watching. That's it.
yeah. Well, I hope it got out. I hope that they're starting to think about it and they're going to do something about it. Just because, if not, because what they really want. This is what I think majority of New Mexicans want. They want to be left alone. They want to be able to thrive, however, whatever that looks like for themselves, and they don't want their taxes to go up.
But the
That's
thing is the ironic thing is we have the same quantity, if not more, oil here than Alaska, and it's a damn sight easier to get to, and yet we could get enough dividend revenue off of the oil coming into the state that we could eliminate the income tax. We could eliminate all the taxes here and
That's what
just live
Greg
off
Cole
of.
is saying.
I believe that is coming for a lot of states. That states with assets under management, that I think it's built in, that's going to start happening at some point.
Yeah, Greg Hall is pushing for no state taxes because of all the oil. But yet, what's going to happen to the property taxes and that kind of stuff? People are questioning if one goes away, are they going to raise it another way? It's like, oh, that's a good question. Economics. Come on down and educate us on that, or can we say that no more raising all taxes in the sense of property taxes and all that kind of stuff? Because in reality, it doesn't really touch the school system and all that kind of stuff. It's actually the oil. The oil funds the school system. The oil funds the early child intervention. The oil is funding so many things. And what's happening with our property taxes and all the other taxes? Where's it going? What is it funding? You know, and how is it being spent, or is it being misspent? People have been asking me those questions. I'm like,
Well,
that's very good. That's a very
yeah.
good question.
I mean, that's a part of the problem with taxation is everything goes into the slush, and then you don't really get to see how your money is allocated other than the back end percentage. And most people just don't have the awareness to go through that process. And I mean, I haven't done it for Texas, but I mean, I have, as far as my locality is 60% of my property tax. It's really 70% goes to fund public schools. So I work basically a month and a half free for public schools that are all failing. It's the same thing that's all around the country. 20% of the kids can read at their grade level. And some of them are even worse. Like the place I live, Leander ISD, and this is a more middle class, affluent, safe area where, it's suburbia. And we really don't have that many problems compared to Austin. It's pretty nice up here. And it's one of the lowest performing school districts in the whole state of Texas. It was in the news about it. I mean,
Really?
they're so in debt, it's insane. And this is what I keep telling people is, how does this get better? How do you not see this getting worse? Do you realize you are working a month to pay for something that is making kids stupid? Like, why?
Oh, wow.
Why would you keep doing this?
Yeah. As parents, why would you keep doing this? As
I find it
grandparents.
interesting that I was reading today that since Trump has got in there and he started defunding a lot of the USAID and a lot of these backdoor projects. You know what the number one song in the United States is? I know this is it's very off topic, but it's very similar. But you know what the number one song in the United States is for the first time in 40 years? It's a Christian song.
It's what?
It's a Christian song.
What Christian song?
I can't. I forget what it was, but the artist is a Christian, and now that the USAID and they're not backdooring all this stuff.
Are you talking about the RAV guys? It's not God Bless America. It's like a different variation of that, but it's like I think I know what you're talking about. It's actually, I've been watching this because it is interesting. It has climbed the ranks more than I thought.
It's a lady singer. I forget her name, but she's chart topper right now.
Ella Langley?
Is that her name?
Okay, yeah, she's not a Christian singer. I mean, she's being produced by Nashville's throwing everything they have behind this chick. And she's good. She's doing a good job, and she's a good middle path, but conservative. It's but yeah, I'm sure she sings. She's a self-proclaimed Christian, and she doesn't do anything crazy. As far as I can
What
tell.
song would
I
that
don't
be of
listen to her
hers?
music. I don't know, but
Choosing Texas. That's the song that's popular
yeah,
right now.
that's Ella Langley.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not a Christian song though. Yeah, that is pervasive. Been hearing her song a lot.
No, I suspect that the culture of America has always been here. We were just under a coma from everyone working so much, and Hollywood just took over our brains, especially with
Yeah.
streaming services coming out as rapidly and fast as they did. I mean, I was a kid and I remember the Netflix DVD. I wasn't even, I was in high school. Netflix DVDs. You remember that?
I do.
God, you're
I
so
remember
old, man.
Redbox,
checking what they were gonna send me every month by
Yeah.
DVD. Yeah, and you had
Yeah.
to return it in a certain amount of time, then they'll send you another
Right.
one. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
they raised the price on that. The
Yeah.
subscription.
And then streaming came out. And
Yep.
then everyone lost their minds. For
And
like,
everybody else started pushing streaming.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is that I was,
and then
I was
everyone
getting-
saw all the movies and now they're on the internet. Sorry, Cody.
well, what I was getting at is that like Bad Bunny was the chart
Yeah.
topper. The money that they were throwing behind the industry, they're saying from the USAID and stuff, trying to sway the culture into this. Was it satanic? I would say, but non-religious, non-denominational bullcrap, where it's all like feel good, all this stuff was leading the charts for like the last 30 years. They haven't had a real rock and roll song be a chart topper since what 25 years ago with Limp Bizkit and all that stuff. And ever since then, the charts has been topped by rap songs and all this non-secular stuff. And right now, you have like a country western song that's talking about choosing Texas, and it's leading the charts. It's because it's like there's no outside influences paying to manipulate the market, and they were taking our own money and manipulating the populace.
And that's just USAID. That's not even all the other entities out there. I mean, Hollywood is it's not even government. This is like what people think there's government and private. There's government, there's peasants, and then there's overlords, like corporate entities that don't really have an embodiment of an individual. They're more of a collective. And you would think the government is more like that, and they are in kind. Like you go from the individual to organized government to corporatism, in my mind, in a certain sense, in terms of the rank order of hierarchy of basically corporates. Like the hippies were right. Corporates run the world. But who are the corporates? Are the individuals or the entities? The whole thing about this music thing is very interesting. If you go through what the genres that were at the top of each, basically they run a decade, and then you have to switch to a new genre of or a new type. Like when I was in high school, everyone was listening to rap. Everybody. That was party music. That was fun. That was like what you listen to in the car. Like country music had it was still there. I mean, I was in the Midwest and the South. You're still listening country, but country music was becoming pop. So it's like the only gritty, edgy thing was darkness, basically.
Well, but when you think about it, when in the 80s and early 90s, they had to come up with a separate chart for like country music. So like they had the pop chart, and then they had the country music chart, and probably several others. But a country music song since probably the mid 80s hasn't been the pop song or the topping the pop charts.
Yeah, when Garth Brooks got his hands on it.
There's a lot of stories about Garth Brooks going around. I don't know, but
Hey, he didn't go on his fat Garth Brooks tour talking about politics for without being paid.
Yeah. Well,
That is a wit boy right there, if I ever saw one. You think he wants to go on these talk shows to talk about politics? Although he's backed off. But if you remember during COVID prior to COVID, just prior and during, like, not really during, but prior, like that decade, he was like this weird blob that kept popping in.
well,
But
the
he
idea
never,
that he
tried to cross
retired.
over.
Yeah, he retired.
yeah, he was
to raise
trying to
his
be
kids.
relevant again. And it just was like, he had
it
a,
didn't work.
no, he had an app. It was called the G.
Well, he actually got in a large
Yeah.
lawsuit with Glenn Beck over that symbol, the lowercase g. 'Cause Glenn
Oh, I
Beck
would have
is-
sided with Garth Brooks on that one, to be honest. Like that, I don't know about that. I mean, but fair enough. I'm happy to see them fight. That's good.
Well, just petty bullshit. But
Yeah.
I got mad at Garth Brooks when how come I can't go onto any of them? You can't go onto anything and listen to his music. He wants you to go buy a CD. Well, my car doesn't even come with a CD player anymore, dear bud.
Yeah, Garth Brooks is, well, oh yeah, I forgot about that. He used to, yeah, he was pushing for he was like trying to reclaim the mark. I'm like, oof, oh buddy, you have no idea.
Yeah, through all the places Kmart, you could only buy a multi-disc collection set through Kmart. Wasn't that was a great.
That's a
foresight,
sad
but-
ending to a damn.
Yeah. I used to listen to him back in high school. It was cool back then.
Yeah, his
and
stuff in the
then-
'90s was great. I liked it. It was good. Like, yeah.
in grade school, it was Nirvana, but it was also big hair bands. John Bon Jovi, and all those guys. They put out some great music.
But think about the kids today and the bands they listen to. Oh, wait a second. It's not a thing anymore. It's over. The kids aren't listening to bands. You have
But
your
that's what I'm
niche.
saying. That's what I'm saying is like this lady comes in with this country western song after they are like stopped artificially pushing their agenda through propping up Bad Bunny and all that crap. That guy's bizarre. Anyways,
I know what you're saying but also if you look in the backing of Ella Langley, she has been groomed by Nashville for like a while, like not since she was a kid. I think she was for real, like an up and coming singer, but they picked her they picked her. Like the industry is fully behind her. I mean, that is not even a question. But it is a good tell, Cody, in that the industry is realizing that you're not going to keep shoveling the same crap anymore. And what is the psychology? What's the zeitgeist moving towards, and nostalgia, a little bit more wholesome. Like, let's back off of the, gang banging and murder and rape, let's go. Maybe we need to ease off on that a little bit. The next generation coming up are starting to replace the boomers, are starting to have more and more kids. Their consciousness is changing. Their temperaments and dispositions are changing. Disposition. Help me, Cody.
Yeah.
I'm watching this for once.
So Post Malone is
Dispensation.
Post Malone has been kicking into the charts too pretty heavily.
Yeah.
He was Boots in the Park here, and his stage just blew up with people all around.
And what's his brand? Someone you can relate to. A nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
Smiles, warm, but talking about pain, internal pain, but always warm and very, but that when you watch the culture shift with the music, it's a real thing. That is kind of the wave of. And what's interesting to me is trying to think about, well, what comes next after this? And I think we're going to stay in wholesome nostalgia for a good minute. I think we need it. Yeah. We need a good palate cleanse after the last 3 to 4 decades. So I think people are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder men from, was it Men from North of Virginia? What was the guy that sang that one?
Oh yeah, men north of Virginia of Richmond.
Richmond, yeah. Him coming out and just doing that in his backyard, and then people just gravitating to his song, and just I think that had a huge impact in the blue collar, and then just the everyday people. Just what's going on. This doesn't make sense.
And as
I don't
far
know if
as
he was. Go ahead.
Oliver
no,
Anthony.
sorry, as far as I can tell, that was organic. That was all I wanted to say. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
it's
couldn't
Oliver-
find real backing behind him. That seemed to be an organic thing.
As a
that
matter of
happened.
fact, when he gained all the traction, the Nashville, from what I understand, came out to squash him because he wouldn't jump on behind them.
Nope.
No, he talked
wouldn't
about it.
sign a contract.
Yeah, because
Yeah, still hasn't.
Yeah, because it was good music. He didn't need to.
Oliver Anthony.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is his grandfather's name.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a different guy, thinking a different way, and he's just putting his whole heart out there, and people connect with it. And I think more people are moving towards that authenticity, because they're like, well, a lot of these people, they're just out for the money. Just drop your credit card on this and go in debt. I don't care. As long as I can have the $1 million lifestyle. But he's not having $1 million lifestyle. He's just doing his thing wholesomely and just cranking them out. It's bizarre how he came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so many good artists.
It's hard to tell what's organic and what's manipulated, and the way I look at it is nothing is organic and nothing is purely synthetic. It's all acting within a matrix of both of those different impulses of what's natural and what's because I mean, if you look at the unnatural, the things that are forced, it's I don't know if Rudolf Steiner said it first, but he often said that evil was a good deed out of time. That basically evil is mistimed good. Which I've said that before, and I don't know how I think about that. Like, it might be misconstrued that, like, oh, is rape ever a good thing? No, I don't think that's what he meant, but more of that, like, I guess, but if you, instead of calling it rape, like, is sex in the proper place and time is a good thing, and out of the wrong time and place, it's a bad thing.
I'm going to have to sit on that one.
Exactly.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean the action is necessarily wrong, like killing somebody. Sometimes you got to kill someone. Some people need killing,
Well, something my head says, violence is not violence is not a good option, but it's always an option.
It is always an option. But I that's just kind of a good way of thinking about. For me, it's been useful because it's like evil wants to accelerate things to a certain timeline that works within, like, basically flips the natural order of things. So what I've seen is, like, I wonder if the countervailing force is like, oh, you want to accelerate? Well, it's double accelerate. How about that? Because
So
evil ultimately has to live off of a false construct.
So Sheridan Taylor, I think I'm saying his name right. He came out with Yellowstone, and he has that kind of undertone about evil, and you have to do evil to for somewhat good and that kind of stuff. And it seems like the series that he brings out has that similar theme, if you kind of notice that. But he also brings in, well, artists from East Texas and stuff like that, and getting their name out and getting their music out instead of all this other stuff. Even though there's been controversy between him and the actors and all that kind of stuff, he does have that. If you kind of like look through his series, seems like they all have a similar theme, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure. No, it's
Oh, yeah.
definitely tailored. Like whenever he
Shit.
makes something, it's like, yep, I see you. I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And what is it that he's bringing across through his lens that he's allowing us to see from his point of view? That, yeah, is he pushing the narrative or not? Or is he just taking what is pervasive in society and taking that narrative and playing it out to the end?
Like, is Langley coming to him and going, hey, here's what we're doing. Here's the plan. That I the more and more I've watched this, I don't know if that's how this operates. That certainly operates, but that's more on a personal level within interpersonal networks of incentive structures. I don't think it's necessarily the government straight up doing it. I think it's the government did stuff like this and does do stuff like this, but then people left government, took this into the private sector. And really, when you look at the formation of what became the OSS intelligence services of the West,
Yeah.
all Wall Street lawyers. So it's always been private equity manipulating things to make things become a potential outcome. And like when you get into government and you look at government programs and you start talking, especially people in the Pentagon or DOD, they go, it's just a cage match at all times to keep your funding, because somebody's always trying to come along to your next level up to be like, hey, I got a new program. This is what it's looking like. Here, what's your lease? Do you have any money to scrape up for something? If it, if they know the person they're trying to pitch it to, then they go, oh yeah, no, I like this. This is a much better idea. Okay, what's at the bottom list? Oh, yeah, okay, those are done. And they just cut the money off and they like, hey, thank you. Money's cut off. Good luck. That's how programs end in the government. And in the corporate sector, there's no real this is the problem. Like, the left is good at identifying problems. They're not good at identifying problems writ large. They're not good at identifying the core issue of where it comes from or how to solve it. They're not good at any of that. They're good at emotional responses. That's about all they're good.
Okay.
That's all they're useful for. After that, don't listen to them. But when they say the corporates are a problem, they are right. They have always been right about that. Doesn't mean capitalism's bad, although we live in a capitalist country with no capitalists.
Well, it's crony capitalism too. I mean, it's like,
yeah, exactly. Our language controls our perception, the words we use.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's the way we frame this all. Like, in my mind, I don't look at corporate and government as separate entities at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're just different ways of manipulating their environment. When you get enough corporation,
yeah,
you can't tell me. I mean, I'm a fan of SpaceX, but you can't tell me that when you have a company that goes public and becomes instantaneously worth $1 trillion, and they're launching for who are they launching for? The government.
99% of their contracts are U.S. government.
Yeah, and how are they worth $1 trillion? It's not because they're providing cheap internet. And they're that much money. You can't tell me that it doesn't have influence over the politicians around them. Now, granted, with Elon Musk being in there, he is manipulating them in our way, but that's the same thing as everyone else is doing. It's just manipulating the environment. So
yes, you play the hand that you're dealt, and Elon is playing the hand that he was dealt, and he was dealt that hand. By the way, don't ever think that he just came up with all this stuff.
Well, that's a debate for a different time. I mean, but
EM backed me up on that one. For what it's worth, it's not the Black Pope EM Burlingame, the Lord Protector of the Realm, declared it so. It is so.
Well, but
what are you going to say about that, Cody?
Well, my question is,
I didn't
who
see
gives
this
a
one
shit?
coming.
But
I'm just kidding. You want to debate our Lord Protector? No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking. Totally joking. I'm totally joking. I didn't mean to derail. My bad. No, keep going.
I didn't see that.
You bring that up. It's like, who cares? What the reality of the situation is this is what he has now. So so what? He was propped up. Who gives a shit? He is in this position now, and that's the scary part. Is how much.
It's how much agency do these people really have over their decision making is the big part of the question.
The problem they have now is he has so much money that he does his own agency. He doesn't.
No. Like agency in the sense of how free are they really to make their decisions?
You think that the overlord out there wants him to go and support Republican things, or you think he's broken away from the underlying people that were trying to control him?
I don't think Overlord. I love that, by the way. We'll just call it Overlord, because I don't believe it's a person. I think it's an entity. Although it's given a little too much credit.
You're giving them.
If the Prince of Darkness, I don't think he cares. Like I don't think the Prince of Darkness cares if you're a Republican or Democrat or who's propped up. At this point, I think the Democrat Party has been set up, and I've been saying this for almost 10 years. They have metaphysically committed suicide. They will not be a political party in the future.
Well, when you have a guy like Elon Musk, they have to be, because when you have someone that basically, if we take your premise that he was put in the position to make all this stuff, and he's broken away from the overlords. And now
I didn't say he broke away. You're saying that.
No, I'm just saying that's what the implication is from a lot of people.
That's the optics. Yeah,
he's gotten pissed, and he's like, the one thing they did is they screwed with his kids. And you give Elon Musk he's a lot of things, but he loves his kids. And when they turned his son into a shim, what were they expecting? That really, and then they use fear and gaslighting to get him to make a decision to turn his kid, into a girl. It's just, I think they pushed him over the edge, and now they, got an unstoppable force. And now he's even pouring money into the Democratic Party of California. I mean, the Republican Party of California.
Yeah, I think Steve Hilton has a good chance. But look, it's more complicated than, all right. So do you believe in the paradigm of Republican? Let me put it this way. Clearly people vote and self-identify as Republican or Democrat or leaning. But when you ask them one-on-one, people are a little hesitant to say, I'm 100% a Republican or 100% a Democrat.
Because neither party is a true description of what people are. Because
it didn't used to be this way, though.
It's always been that way. I've been watching politics for 35 years.
No, I mean,
you got Democrats.
Like this.
No, it's just in a different light.
You think people are more hardcore about being Republicans today than they were during 9/11?
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the party there's never been a group of people that completely believe or stand behind what each party is.
I agree. I'm talking about the general energy from and this is just my, not subvert. Oh my goodness, I can't do language. Subjective analysis here, just from going to cry. And Corey, you can probably speak more to this, but how many people are like really hardcore excited about the Republican Party versus like, I mean, when I was a kid, people were proud to say they were Republican or Democrat. They would self-identify and they'd be fine, even if the other person was a Democrat. Be like, "Oh, you're Republican? Oh, okay." They might have a discussion or something.
I've been doing politics. My parents weren't into sports. My dad listened to politics, and to say that people were proud of their party 35 years ago is crap, because
you're right. I shouldn't say they were proud of it, but they were more open about talking about self-identifying themselves.
The difference is now is that people, no one talked about their political affiliation. It was private. It was something you did in behind it. When I was a kid, you literally walked into a thing and drew a curtain behind you and walk in and voted. None of this plastic divider where you're scrunched into this little fucking table where people can sit there and look over, the answers you're putting down in your paper. You walked into a booth that had a curtain. It was
Look, I'm just speaking relatively from today. I'm not saying, and I'm not speaking in absolutes. I'm saying relative today from 20 years ago. That's all I'm saying.
No, it's always been a private thing.
I know it's always been a, never mind. All right. It's fine. Corey, do you understand? Anyway, the point, go ahead. Yep.
What I'm saying is the problem that they have now is the parties are forcing people to come out with their politics. And because they want you, what was it? The attorney general, the black guy that was under what was his name? Barack Obama, that one attorney general. He came up and he said, said he wanted to have gun owners be like smokers. They wanted to huddle in masses in the corners and be afraid to admit they were smoking cigarettes. They applying that same narrative to Republicans. They're trying to shame them and push them into the corners and be afraid to speak out because of the criticism from the people around them. That's what I see. Outspoken. We live in a democratic state where people. My wife, is a lifelong Republican, and she's afraid that if we put a Republican sign in our front yard, that we'll get our house egged and people will come and vandalize our house. So to say that people are more open about their politics, the Democrats are trying to push this narrative that we can't be open about our politics, is they're making all these extremists that want you to hide in the corner with your self-identified thing. The idea that it's an open society for identifying your politics is bullshit. Especially in democratic areas. They're trying to subvert the will of the people by keep suppressing them and not wanting them to put up the signs and all that other stuff because you get your house fucked with.
I hear you. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that relative to today, it's a more hostile environment today than it was 20 years ago.
Definitely
That's
more,
all I'm trying
more
to
hostile.
say.
Okay.
So,
and that I agree.
And that people were able to, anyway, anyway, I'm sorry, Corey. I completely forgot what we were talking,
we're talking about Lincoln. We're talking about Lincoln.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's
the same initiative.
Let's go to Lincoln.
It's just, it frustrates me. My grandpa, he died in 92. And I was about 10 years old when he died. But I remember he said two things you never talk about: religion and politics, because you're never going to change their mind and all you're going to do is cause an argument. So no one ever talked about it. It was a private thing. Really, it wasn't until Rush Limbaugh came out and started his political talk show and it got so popular that politics really came into the forefront of the mind of the population. Before then, it was private. And then, all this manipulation of these people was done by the media with unopposed. The thing that really screwed them all up is that you could bring, the plebs or the lowly civilian can go out and have a platform where people will listen to us. The bourgeoisie doesn't control the narrative so much anymore. And Colin's not even listening. So
I am. I'm just not. I'm not tracking with the argument. I mean, I get it. I get what you're. I kind of get what you're saying, but I don't. In a sentence, what's the point of what you're saying?
Well, that's my thing to you. You come up with this stuff, this conspiracy thing. In the long run, everyone wants to be.
What conspiracy thing? What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, I understand you need to know where the seat of power is, but really understanding that, the city of London is controlling all this stuff. I mean, people don't care because it doesn't affect their general life like right now. You go out and talk to people, talk about the Iraq war, their war with Iran. They don't give a shit because it doesn't affect what's going on right here and right now. You look at the power structure that now the United States is actually being able to fund global shipping and
Ar-
taking some of the power away from the British and stuff. But the normal person doesn't give a crap.
I think this is a great exercise. I think you're absolutely right that most people don't give a crap. And let's go through this. Okay. What are your name the biggest 2 or 3 problems that you guys have personally or at the state level, or speak for the people of New Mexico or in your locale?
Well, you know what my biggest problem is right now? Is I got my daughter. I'm pulling her out of school because I'm sick of the narrative that the goddamn school is pushing. So she's been in school for 2 weeks now, and she was out of school for what 5, 6 weeks, and she was becoming the girl I remember. We put her back into school for 2 weeks, and you know her they're using this, pushing this progressive agenda, and now she's questioning her sexuality and all this other shit. And now you have, it's like, and if you go against it, they're using the kids in the school to actually bully the other kids into submission to believing this crap. And my daughter, after being in it for what 6, 7 months or whatever school lasts, and then being out of it for 2 months, and then going back in and spending like every day with me, going through and debunking all this crap. And now she goes in and she feels totally overwhelmed and assaulted. And now she's asking to be taken out of that environment because she realizes it's just bullshit.
So why does that happen?
Why? Because we showed her the truth.
No.
Sat down
Why does the school do what they do?
because they're trying to. Why do we have schools the way they are? It's because we're trying to create worker bees. They go out and they're supposed to. That's the reason they have the bells. That's the reason they have these schedules that you go in and out of them. It has nothing to do with education. They have everything to do to make a better worker.
Hey,
How about-
I'd be
how about,
fine if that's what they were doing. That's not what
But
they're doing.
that's a niche.
Cody, what if they're trying to depopulate?
Well, that's probably part of the unintended consequence. Is there
Unintended?
Well, some could say it is, but what I know is that she was having problems with her sexual identity, and these kids are pushing all this bullshit that they're hearing from the school. And as soon as she gets found it and like, okay, I'm not this way, and goes back, now she's being bullied and they're trying to use the kids to push her point of view back into this progressive bullshit.
The hive mind?
The hive mind. And when you pull out of the collective or the Borg hive mind, then you're the enemy and you have to be destroyed. It's just
Right. So look, somebody in the Soviet Union, let's say you were a citizen of the Soviet Union, they would just look at the government and the way this all worked, and they'd be like, this is just how it is. This is normal. None of the Soviet Union was normal. It was technocracy. It was an attempt at a technocracy. It's not even communism. It was really just how do we manage and do a central control grid from all aspects of life. This is that with American characteristics. Because you can't do the same type going from civilization to civilization or country to country. Cultures are different. They come at it from different angles. But ultimately, when you look at the origin of where the Soviet Union arose from, it was all financed. Same thing goes for this. It's all financed. This has all been laid out in a business model.
The Soviet Union came about too because it was the aristocracy coming up and trying to, because of the war and trying to control the finances. We wouldn't have had the Soviet Union if we didn't have the First World War.
You mean the ones that killed their emperor?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The emperor is the ultimate aristocracy. What do you like? Who are these? You're right. There's sub princes or sub aristocrats that came out and sided against and betrayed.
The Western society had a control on what's that one? Lenin, and they purposely released that cancer back up into Russia to go
Who
and
did
start.
it?
Well, I understand it was the British, right?
With
But
the Germans, actually, it was kind of
so
it's
why
a
would the
little
Germans? They were fighting
incestuous.
that you had one side of the royal family fighting against the other side of the royal family, and then they sent someone to go kill another member of the royal family. They were all fighting amongst the royals during the First World War. It was a big royal family feud. I mean, the Russian Tsar was the cousin of the King of England.
Yeah, and they hated
And
each other.
Yeah, and he sent Lenin's poisonous thought pattern into Russia and started a political revolution that ended up killing his cousin.
Have you ever seen Henry V? Or it's the new one with Timothy Chalamet?
No, I have
I think
not
it's just
seen that.
called Henry. I highly recommend it. It's one of the best new movies I've ever seen. I mean, it's not new. It's been out a couple years, I think 4 years. But it talks about, yeah, you guys have to watch that movie. I don't want to spoil it. It's Henry V basically, but go ahead, sorry.
So what do you do when you come against those things, Cody? Do you leave your child there, or do you pull the child out?
They're pulling her out. Tired of the bullshit.
Yeah. And what does that do to the school system?
Well, it
There's
pulls
a
money
consequence
funding
to the
away.
school
And
system.
the thing that is impressive is not only are we pulling her out of school, it's a fucking charter school. It's a charter school.
Those are
Supposedly
worse.
the best of the best. They're supposed to be better than public
No,
school,
they're
but it's
worse.
just another GMO,
Yes.
and they're like, oh, our grade points is this and that bullshit. And it's all crap. It's just,
my wife used to work at one, and it is a technocratic styled school where every child is a little dial. Like, you just have to make little micro adjustments, and they're honestly scams. It's a way to pull state funding. And just run another business model because
it's just
they're
same
smaller in
bullshit.
scale than having to fund a public school building, because that's so
Education's not any
expensive.
different. I mean, it's
worse. I'm telling you, it's worse.
dude,
The people they hire are mouth breathing morons. Like,
dude,
according to my wife,
worse.
and I've met some of these people. It's bad.
Well, but it's just I'm sorry, I'm frustrated because I'm having to deal with this shit. But this was my number one fear. But at least now we can get her put into a school. Yeah, it's going to cost us money now to put her back into independent study that will be more of a
a new movement that's happening is that parents are starting to do pods, and you just get with your neighbors or other people in similar conditions, and you help each other teach your kids. And
they were doing that stuff. They were doing that shit back in the 90s.
They've been doing that since forever. It's an old model, and it works.
But if you don't have a religious foundation or a group, so like the Adventist Church did that shit where I grew up, where they would get a group of parents, and instead of calling it homeschooling, it was like a co-op.
Yeah.
But where am I going to do here? How can I get a co-op when the down here in Las Cruces, when you go to the church and they're fucking nuts?
There's already co-ops.
Yeah, and they're not there. You can find them online, and I'm telling you, parents that have the conscientiousness to pull their kids out of school and have the leap of faith to start doing something like this, almost all of them believe in God. They may not believe or have the same exact religion, but it's close enough.
Yeah, well, the stuff we're going after now, and I'm not going to credit it because, I'm not getting paid, and it's no one's business, but it's out of Florida. It's a Christian-based orthodoxy, and, it's still, she, instead of, problem I had before is she would do this schooling stuff, and she would and it's my fault. I'm like, the faster you get this done, the more you can screw off. But, instead of spending 2 hours on the internet, or 2 or 3 hours, now it's going to be an all day thing like a regular schooling stuff, but we're tailoring it to what she needs to do. It's just, I hate this whole bullshit that they're pushing right now about, it takes it takes a village. No, it takes responsible parenting.
Yeah.
And a lot of
I
people
mean,
are
that's
saying
really
the
what
same
kids
thing.
need at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm up there trying to have a vacation up in Raton. That's the only thing I get to do now because, we're raising children and stuff, and, um, I'm not regretting it, but I'm up there doing that and we're sitting there digesting all this bullshit that the school just like completely threw on top of her again. It's like they picked up right where they left off and now they're more mad at they've got the kids more mad at my daughter because, um, they can't push their agenda. And she's been talking with me and her mom over the summer, and we've changed her point of view because it does the stuff they were peddling just didn't make any sense. And it's not. I'm not a Republican because I like the party. It just makes sense. It the Democratic bullshit doesn't make any sense unless you're a fucking idiot. I mean, not. I'm just getting pissed off, but you listen to the crap
You
they're
want to talk about
peddling.
Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah, why not Abraham Lincoln?
Well, we're getting late.
I have a book about him somewhere in here.
I don't know. Corey, what do you have to say about all this?
Well, what I have to say is that there's a lot of parents that are going through the same thing. And Raul Torres, he was saying that there's some problems that we're having that the fathers were bringing up. And he said, unless a person pulls a gun, starts shooting or that kind of stuff, there's really nothing you can do. Yet, from his perspective, from the law perspective, he can come down on the school system if they're not upholding to their own policies. And if their policies are against bullying and all that kind of stuff, then uh, the AG can come down, the whatever can come down and uh, really make them uh, choose better. But yet, are they really doing that? A lot of people have pulled their kids and they're working together to raise them, and they figure out different ways so that they can get educated and then get into college if they want to do college or get into trade or whatever it is. And more parents are sacrificing a whole lot more, even though
Yeah.
their taxes are going towards these schools. They're saying no, we don't want this anymore. There is a growing uh, speech about actually giving parents money, a reimbursement from that they're educating their kids, so on their taxes they get X amount towards their kids and their education, and to help fund these things. So people are all over the place on this. Yet what it comes down is us dads. It is about us dads. Um, we've been pushed out of the picture. Well, no more. We're back in the picture. We're standing up for our kids because they are very important. Our wife is very important. Our kids are very important. We're pushing back and we're saying enough is enough. We're not taking it. And as a father, I am the gatekeeper. If this is not going to go according to what is best for my child, then I'm going to shut the door and I'm going to open up another door, find another door, because that's what's best for my child. And I've been
I
hearing a
I
lot
I
more people saying that.
I agree with that idea. That's a pretty good idea. Like, if there's no if they can't provide a product that someone wants and they can just peddle this bullshit on the populace because they have the money. They basically come in and put a gun to your head and say you're either gonna lose your house if you don't pay your property taxes, or we're gonna prison you. So you pay your property taxes. They put it in this general fund here, and then they peddle this crap that I don't believe in. If I put my kid in uh, into homeschool, they should, I'll pay for it because that's not what the populace wants. You know, it frustrates me that I am paying 20 what my property tax is like $2,200 a year towards a corrupt system, and you have a school board that's just as incompetent as the goddamn city council here, and they go and do whatever the hell they want. They don't have any consequence because the customer has no say because they're putting a gun to their head and say, "Give us the money to do this crap."
And I've been saying that real quick, Corey, that you are holding the bag. Every homeowner in that school district is holding the bag. That school fails and they can't meet their debt obligation. They are coming to you, the property owner, to collect. And this has happened all over the country. It's not a rare occurrence. It happens typically in smaller towns, and the school district falls apart. They can't make they can't make their payments on their bonds. There's not enough money. They mismanage their funds. It shuts down, and then the financier comes and sends collections out for the mortgages. And your mortgage, your property tax, this is it. Someone I know, their property taxes almost tripled. Like in the span of within a year. And people just left the key in their front door of their house and walked away. Like that's how bad it was. And that's what they've done is they have socialized risk. That's a fancy way of saying that every dumb slob out there that goes out and works a 9 to 5 and then overtime and then sometimes on the weekend and pays their taxes, well, you carry all the risk for this system. And once people realize that, that's when things will start to change and people start asking the right kinds of questions. Until then, people are just going to keep getting angry and upset and confused.
And nobody's going to stand up and saying, hey, I'm going to take this on. And a bunch of them get backed and they start taking on this education system and start turning it around and making it so that it works for the kids. A lot of people just don't want to do that. A lot of people just want to live their lives on Netflix and this and that. And they are overworked, underpaid, overstressed, and they're trying to feed themselves and they're not stepping up. And we put ourselves into this, and it's multi-generation. It's not our fault.
Yeah.
It's a multi-generation. And when you move from being angry and you actually do something, like pulling your kid out and doing something different, and then tell other parents about it too, and they start pulling their kids and doing something different, all of a sudden, they're going to balk and they're going to do all kinds of stuff. But yet you say, no, this is not going to work because they're going to try to force their hand. And you say, no, as father, you say no, and no means no. And you're the gatekeeper. And you're going to keep the wolves out of your own house.
School was unacceptable for me to go to, for any kid of those kids to go to when I was a kid in high school or middle school. It was unacceptable environment to be in for children.
The problem
in many ways.
The system they have set up is, like I was saying, where it's designed to create workers. And they've tried to take this idea.
Where are the workers?
Well, but they've taken it was designed to make a worker, and now they're trying to use it to produce socialists. You can't have these two systems working together.
It's to produce useless idiots and a bunch of resentfuls that grow up and are confused why they can't get jobs that pay them what they were told. That's my generation. We're realizing we were all conned. And now the young kids, it's 10 times worse for them.
Well, it's I can't, you go into Starbucks right down the street from you. The people pouring you coffee have some pretty high intense degrees.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What amazing workers they are serving Starbucks. Like, I'd be fine if this was churning out drones for a factory or workers for factories. At least they're making stuff. We're not even making stuff. We're
But
serving fake coffee
it's
with
pretty bad when
graphene that
I'm watching.
monitors your movements.
Well, but look at I was watching Bill Maher last weekend just because like you have to listen to someone that's an opposing opinion, and he had Rowe on there, Mike Rowe on there, and the guy's correct. For so long, they denigrated the ability of the working man to go out and get a career in a noble thing like plumbing and welding and all this shit, and being a mechanic and stuff. And now we've encouraged kids to have no ungodly business being a a social studies major because they said, oh my God, you're a mechanic. I remember my grandma, like a normal Seventh Day Adventist, wanted her grandkids to grow up to be doctors and all this stuff. And she told me one time that it's horrible that, as a mechanic, you have your name on your shirt. And I'm like, how many doctors you see that walk around that don't have their goddamn name on their shirt? Doctor, whatever. It's just they have to do it because they want to show off that then 10 years to get the initials behind their name. The only thing I had was a patch that said AFC on it, but I didn't take nearly as much money as that it took to get that, that college degree.
Yeah, the older generations work their butts off to get their kids into college to go be doctors and lawyers. I mean, it's a classic tale. And then everyone did that, and they made college relatively accessible with student loans and payment systems that just put you like, oh yeah, just be on debt, and you just you carry that. We'll just come after you for the rest of your life. Government's underwriting
the next
it.
50 years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. Sure.
Well, yeah,
yeah, all of them are in debt, and they all have to pay the government back. All of them. Starbucks,
but
it's the only place that's hiring them.
It's like the old thing. When you're in debt, you're taking your eyes off of God, and you're beholden to the debtor. And who's writing the note for their debt? It's the government.
Actually, we are.
Yeah, we are, but the government's the one that's okaying this shit.
They're the deciders,
You leave high school when you're 18, 19 years old, and you go into the world, you have zero debt if you've done it all right. And they're saying, go out to get a worthless education and be indebted to us for between $80,000 and $160,000. And then go work that debt off the rest of your life. If
it's
even
$120,000 to $120,000 to $300,000. Depends on what degree you go for, and if you go for a master's degree. Just a bachelor's degree will run you
on average. Every American is born with about $120,000 in debt. Just average across the board. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I understand with the national debt, every person's born with some kind of something sitting over the head. But theoretically, when you graduate high school, to your physical name, your actual debt to income ratio, you have zero debt. And then they make you, they brainwash you into going to college, and then they give you this huge debt. I have friends of mine that went, I'm 44 years old. I have friends of mine that have been paying debt for 30 years. 25, 30 years, and they'll never get done paying it.
Hey, Cody, I got a master's degree. My wife's got a master's degree. She's working on a master's doctorate. We did the Dave Ramsey, and we got rid of our debt first, which is a lot of people are just pushing off on that debt, just kind of like everything else. When you get rid of your debt and you become free, with your college degree and stuff like that, you're a whole lot ahead. But a lot of people are not looking at that. That's another issue that has been pervasive. They don't want to list. They don't want to push the Dave Ramsey style. They don't want to push this and that. Yet, if you come out with a plumber degree or a plumber certification, whatever it is, and you make $120,000 a year, approximately that, or maybe if you own your own business and you grow it, it's a whole lot more, but you could be like 100,000 to 120,000. And you look at all the people that coming out of college after 5 years, 5, 6 years, because it takes a
Hmm.
little bit longer now. Um, you actually are wealthy comparative to the people that come out with a bachelor's degree. And when they come out with
I
a
had a man.
master's degree, you're actually another, what, 8 to 10 years. And so you basically have paid off your house. You can jack up your truck, your whatever you want. You're working hard. Yeah, on the flip side, there's food on the table.
Well, I always
You
said that
got wife and
we
kids.
were we were having problems with the air conditioner in this new house. So evidently, it was a rental house, so they just put an evaporator in. They didn't really like do a really top notch job fixing the air conditioner. So I had to have this young man. He was 32 years. He was what Colin's age. He grew up on a farm out here as a cotton farm here in Las Cruces, and the government's basically pushing him out of that. So he went down to the community college here and in 1 year, took a program where he went from knowing diddly squat to now he's an air conditioning tech.
Hmm.
And he says he's making $140,000 a year, and it cost him literally maybe $1,000 to get the certificate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
How many people
like
are sharing those stories?
no one, no one is because it doesn't fit the narrative.
Yeah. And how do we change the narrative?
Well, doing this, bringing light to it.
Yeah, and sharing with the young people, hey, you want to make some really good money? It's going to be hard. On the flip side, it's going to take you less time, and you're going to do really, really well because people need those skills. You know?
Well, they're saying that next year, next right now I think they said they're 160,000. No, it's like 400,000 short of jobs needed for like basic welding, pipe fitters, so on, mechanics, all that stuff. $400,000, 400,000 jobs short. And next year that's what it was. Next year they're going to be with the amount of people retiring and leaving, it's going to be go up by 160,000. 500,000 jobs unfulfilled because we have people with college degrees becoming baristas instead of wanting to go out and become pipe fitters.
Yeah. I was told that if don't want to be a chaplain anymore, that I can get a job being a lineman right then and there, and I can be a lineman and make some really good money. And I actually thought about it, yet it terrifies me to be that high up in the sky. Man, that terrifies me. Yet I probably could get over it if this goes dead and I can't be a chaplain anymore. Then
Which would be funny to have it go dead considering you helped reaping the dead. But I mean,
yeah, thanks.
you
Yeah, you
know,
know what I'm
my
saying?
career died over trying to help people who are dying.
Yeah, and yeah, if I would go back and do trade, learn it, be good at it, and make sure that my family is safe and good. Food on the table. Actually, I was told I should have done that instead of go to college because I wasn't smart enough. Um, yeah, some of the smartest people I know are in trade. They're highly intelligent people. Yeah,
Well,
it's
look at the
yeah,
big be, the best
the what?
the best scam I ever pulled, the best scam I ever pulled was I took my ADHD diagnosis and went to the state of California and applied for because I gotten wounded in my leg. And the doctor said I was like 15% disabled. I still got that letter. Went to the Department California, got a got a grant to get a truck driver CDL. I think it cost $4,000 at the time is what they paid. And because I looked into the programs and figured out how you get a trucking license for like next to nothing, and I got the grant. And then went out, and the first year I was '07, I made like 65,000, and then the next year was the big financial crisis of '08, and everything dropped through the floor. I think I made $30,000 that year. But the year after that I made 50, 60, 70. And when I finally got out of trucking because I had family obligations, I was making over 140,000 a year. And I had no debt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, I know we went a little off topic today. So
Yeah, and you were able to verbalize what's really going on inside your heart and your mind,
I'm just
and
frustrated. It's just, yeah.
yeah, Colin, I can hear it, and then whoever listens, they're also going to hear how frustrated and angry and upset, and because your daughter is your daughter, you're a dad.
Well,
We get it.
it's the thing that sucks is like you wish you could just go to that school and start beating the crap out of these kids that are bullying your child. But when you
Nope,
get
you can't
old,
do that.
when you get over 40 and you have a lot of assets and stuff, and realize you could lose your ass and end up in prison for a while, you probably
You don't look good in orange.
you don't see. Well, yeah, I don't usually wear too much
You
orange
know,
because I look like
something that, the it's only been in the last it's been hard to describe my response to the whole. I feel like I had a more visceral response to the whole COVID thing and everything that happened post 2016 than most, just because of the context that I could see it in, and some other people saw it the same. But the greatest gift that came out of all that, and of watching everyone lose their minds, and I know you guys all feel the same way, but it was like watching like the face, like literally the face huggers, or what is that old movie? It's like Invasion of the Face Snatchers or something. It's like
body snatchers.
bodies, whatever it is. It's like, yeah,
Children.
I was like,
You
where
mean
is
like
this going?
body snatchers. That's a Invasion of the Body
obviously
Snatchers.
you've not watched that documentary piece of
No, I haven't.
cinematic history.
It's just a cultural reference point.
I like how you combined aliens with the invasion of the body snatchers. There.
It's basically, from my perspective, that's what happened. I watched everyone forget who they were, what they were doing, and what happened, and fall into fear-based impulse control, which is listen to authority figures no matter what they said, no matter how crazy it was. But I'm not going on a rant about that. It happened. That's what happened. That's where we are. One of the greatest gifts that gave me was I don't owe anyone an explanation about anything I do anymore. Like any of these people, like that ever dare come to me and say, "Oh no, your kids need to do this or that." No. You wore a paper cloth over your face, thinking you were protecting yourself from viruses. You have not only handed over your authority card, you've handed over your expertise, your knowledge, your intellect, and your adult card. You are a mouth-breathing moron, and you need to go sit in the corner before you ever tell me about anything. And I don't need to get authority from the church, from the school, from the government. I'm free from all these people in terms of I now have total responsibility over my worldview and my perception and my decisions and my actions, which we all really do. But we live in this world where we have to go along with everyone else's rules. I'm done. We're out. We're not going to school. We're not going to be a part of the system. We're not doing it. We're anything else. I'd rather be poor. And in reality, it's not poor. It's I'm more rich than, you always hear this from poor people. I'm richer than the richest, but I'm free to say what I want, think what I want. And it's liberating once you get over the fear of, well, what if I'm not good enough to do this? It's like, you're a hell of a lot better than these psychopaths.
Well, I got Look at who they propped up here in New Mexico with Deb Holland or whatever her. I'm probably saying her name. She is an
I
absolute
I
fucking
I feel
moron.
like we're derailing. Let me just finish the point real quick, and you
Well,
can
no,
talk
I'm
about
saying, but
that.
that's what I'm saying. Is you're right. People are looking through the mask and all that other stuff. You know, it's just
We have
they have own
intellectual authority
sovereignty.
over these people. They're idiots. Everyone has shown their hand of how smart or stupid they are.
You know, like look at Anthony Fauci. That dude is probably the biggest serial killer in the fucking world with all the stuff he pulled off.
Right. Anyway, I'm just saying that we should be free to listen to your heart and soul and do if you feel like you don't want to do something, don't do it. I'm not saying this to you, Cody. I'm saying this to everybody. Just say no,
Yeah.
done. We're done. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Done. I don't want to deal with you people. I don't want to see your face. You want to come and talk to me as a human being? Fine. I'm not going to talk to this Borg anymore. I'm not going to interface with it. I'm done with the Borg.
Exactly. And you got, you know, I shouldn't have to feel like I'm saving my children from school, you know, like, like you were saying. I mean, you can step out on your own and say, fuck off.
Your kids don't need 8 hours of school a day. They just need their parents, honestly.
They need their dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. All you
Much.
dads out there, your kids need you. 100%. They need you. They need you to step up, to be the dad, make your mistakes, learn from them, grow, help your kids grow, be dad, be the father.
And you know what I've learned about being a dad is that when I make a mistake or I'm like, they reflect so much back onto me that I'm like, it really does feel like I'm growing alongside them. Like very viscerally, like not just in some heady way. Like I'm like, oh no, I'm back at my childhood going through this with you again. Not acting like a kid, but I'm going back. It's just, I remember what it was like to be that innocent. And it's like, it's reminding me that I still have that in me to be that innocent of heart again with them. And they're kind of, it's like the most amazing therapy in the world is to just listen to your kids.
Well, it's definitely, you know, this last weekend people was talking about my kids and I'm like, you know, you think it's a hard thing until you see them do something funny just off the wall, trying to act mature and stuff, and it just changes your whole prospect on everything.
Yeah. Well, we're coming up.
The 2-hour mark. Yeah.
Sorry if we went off a little off the rails.
No, dude, I'm glad you shared. That's good. I hear the frustration and the concern, and I wasn't trying to come at you. It was more of saying that I'm saying that if your kids just hang out in the house and you come up with a group of people that, you know, obviously kids are going to get bored, but they'd be better off just playing with their friends or hanging out at home and then like an hour of study a day than going to these places. I'm not saying that's a good idea. I'm saying it's better than sending them off to these places. It's objectively better for them.
And you're probably also the dads out there, the fathers out there listening to what you had to say, what you're going through. It might give them the strength to stand up and say, enough is enough. And they start taking action themselves. Because they may be going through the same thing. You never know.
Yep. And worst case scenario,
he's been waiting to pull that hat out. Oh God.
A tricorn is not conducive to headphones.
No, crap. It's not conducive to normal people either.
There we go. Hang on. Here.
You say I have weird things in the background here.
Solved.
There you go.
I have a lot of weird stuff back here, but I don't have that. I'm just saying.
As I needed it.
You need to get one, Cody. You need to get one.
No. I got a boonie hat in there. That's as close as I'm getting to revolution.
Well, shall we call it from now? And thank you for listening. If you got this far and you got encouraged to be a father, to stand up for yourself, stand up for your kids, and give us a like and comment below and say, I'm a dad and I'm taking responsibility. That'd be awesome. And Cody's going to be thumbs up all those comments.
Yeah.
And
Also, in the show notes, look for our merchandise store. We're coming up with some new stuff all the time, so you can look in there. We're still, what is it? 4 subscribers away from getting giving away a t-shirt. So,
yeah,
if we get some Patreon going, we'll start giving away some t-shirt. We've actually gotten to a point where we're actually making money the beyond the expense, like a whole $4 a month over what the expense costs to operate this thing. So $4 profit better than nothing, right? But
yeah.
we want to thank all the people who have become patrons and are helping us support this without coming out of our own pockets. But anyways, join our Patreon. The link is in the description. If you would do us a favor, share this with your friends and family, and if you have any suggestions on topics that will make Colin go crazy, we love it, especially ones that make Colin go crazy.
Put his hat back on.
Yeah, put your there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
The French.
So, all right. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Thanks for letting us get a place to rant about our crap. I don't like cuss. I was mad. I'm trying not to cuss that much. But. All right, y'all. That's it. Have a nice week, and we'll catch you next week.